Scariest demon encounter ever. Throughout history, tales of demonic encounters have both fascinated and terrified people across cultures and generations. Among these chilling accounts, some stand out as particularly harrowing, capturing the fear of the unknown and the unimaginable horrors that lie beyond the physical world. One such case, often regarded as the scariest demon encounter ever recorded, is the haunting of the Ammons family in Gary, Indiana. This modern-day story of possession, physical attacks by unseen forces, and a family's desperate battle against malevolent entities has left an indelible mark on paranormal history. With credible witnesses, including police officers, medical professionals, and a Catholic priest, all attesting to the terrifying events, the Ammons Haunting is a gripping and horrifying reminder of the darker side of the supernatural. The Ammons Haunting in 2011, when Latoya Ammons and her 3 children moved into a modest rental house on Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana, they were initially unaware of the malevolent forces that would soon turn their lives into a living nightmare. Almost from the moment they settled into the house, the family began to experience a series of inexplicable and disturbing events. What started with relatively minor but eerie occurrences, such as swarms of flies inexplicably appearing in the dead of winter, unexplainable loud noises echoing through the home, and the unsettling presence of shadowy figures, rapidly escalated into something far more sinister. The family soon found themselves at the center of a terrifying series of events that would include physical assaults by unseen forces, bizarre behavior from the children that suggested demonic possession, and a growing sense of dread that permeated every corner of their home. These initial strange phenomena were just the beginning of a horrifying ordeal that would leave a lasting mark on all who came into contact with the house. Physical attacks and possession. The Ammons family's ordeal took a terrifying turn when they began to experience violent physical attacks by what they believed were unseen, malevolent forces. Latoya Ammons claimed that on multiple occasions she felt invisible hands tightening around her neck, choking her with an intense, almost inhuman strength. The attacks didn't stop with her. Her children were also targeted. On several occasions, they were reportedly hurled across the room by an invisible entity, their small bodies flung with a force that left them bruised and terrified. The most chilling incident involved Latoya's 12-year-old daughter, who allegedly levitated above her bed in front of several shocked witnesses, including a Child Protective Services CPS worker and a nurse. This supernatural display of power only intensified the fear and confusion surrounding the family's situation. Latoya also reported that her youngest son began to speak in a deep, unnatural voice completely unlike his own. Both children exhibited classic signs of possession. They would roll their eyes back into their heads, growl like animals, and speak in tongues, uttering words and phrases in languages they had never learned. These frightening behaviors, coupled with the physical assaults, convinced the family and those who witnessed the events that they were dealing with a truly terrifying demonic presence. Involvement of authorities. As the terrifying events in the Ammons household grew more intense, the family reached a breaking point and sought medical help, desperate for an explanation and relief. Their alarming experiences triggered a series of investigations by various authorities, including local law enforcement, medical professionals, and social services. Initially, the police were skeptical of the family's claims, dismissing them as either exaggerated or the result of stress. However, this skepticism quickly faded when officers began witnessing the unexplained events themselves. One of the most striking incidents occurred when a police officer, during an investigation, took a photograph of the house using his cell phone. Upon reviewing the image, he was shocked to discover what appeared to be a ghostly figure looming in a window, despite no one being present in that part of the house at the time. This unsettling evidence added a chilling layer of credibility to the family's claims. In another instance, an officer observed a strange, thick, oil-like substance dripping from the walls inside the home. Despite extensive efforts to identify its source, no natural explanation could be found. The substance seemed to defy logical understanding, further deepening the mystery surrounding the house. These disturbing occurrences, witnessed by trained professionals, convinced even the most skeptical observers that something truly unexplainable was happening in the Ammons home, elevating the case to one of the most perplexing and terrifying in recent paranormal history. Exorcisms. In a short amount of time, the growing horror of the Ammons case caught the attention of Father Michael Maginot, a local Catholic priest who is well known for his competence in dealing with situations pertaining to spiritual faith. Father Maginot, who was aware of the gravity of the situation, was requested to execute an exorcism on Latoya Ammons. He was under the impression that she and her children were being tormented by demonic beings. Over the course of a number of trying months, Father Maginot performed 3 major exorcisms on Latoya. In order to extract the most amount of spiritual power from each of these exorcisms, he alternated between using English and Latin. A number of violent and unsettling emotions were displayed by Latoya throughout these rites. These reactions included convulsions, extreme physical resistance, and speaking in a voice that was not natural. Father Maginot was persuaded by these reactions, which showed that Latoya was really under the grip of great demonic forces. These emotions went well beyond the normal psychological responses that one would expect. The fact that the phenomena continued to occur and were so intense that they did not abate until after the exorcisms were finished was another factor that contributed to the strengthening of his conviction. The involvement of Father Maginot gave the case a feeling of spiritual credibility, which helped to establish it as one of the most dramatic and horrific examples of demonic possession that has occurred in modern times. Aftermath. After enduring relentless supernatural torment, the Ammons family ultimately made the difficult decision to move out of their home on Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana. The intensity of the paranormal activity had escalated to such a degree that their daily lives had become unbearable. Reports of levitation, possession-like behavior, and physical attacks had left the family in a state of constant fear, prompting them to seek refuge elsewhere. Once they vacated the house, the terrifying encounters that had plagued them seemed to cease entirely, suggesting that the source of the disturbances was tied directly to the property itself. The extraordinary nature of the events surrounding the Ammons Haunting quickly caught the attention of the media, turning the story into a sensational case that captivated the public. As the story spread, it attracted the interest of Zach Bagans, a well-known paranormal investigator and host of the television series Ghost Adventures *. Intrigued by the reports of demonic activity, Bagans purchased the house in 2014 with the intention of conducting a thorough investigation. He documented his experiences in the house, which included strange occurrences and unsettling phenomena, in a documentary titled Demon House *. Bagans' experiences during the investigation only served to confirm his belief that the house was indeed a site of powerful and malevolent forces. He and his crew reported feeling a heavy, oppressive atmosphere, and some even claimed to have suffered physical and psychological effects after spending time in the house. Convinced that the house posed a genuine danger to anyone who entered it, Bagans made the controversial decision to have the house demolished in 2016. He believed that the structure was too hazardous to remain standing, as it could potentially cause harm to future occupants or curious thrill seekers. The demolition marked the end of the physical presence of the demon house, but the terrifying legacy of the Ammons Haunting continues to live on in the annals of paranormal history. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon.